Welcome back, everybody, to the Commissioner's Corner, the official podcast of the J. Fiacchi Tote Club Dynasty League, where the trash talk is loud, the trades are questionable, and the beer, well, it's occasionally shotgun down video. I'm your host and Commissioner Luke, proud GM of the Addams family, and it's time to dive into the insane nuclear week we just had. Insane amount of trades to go through. I'm going to start with that. That's all I have to say. Let's get into it. Starting with trade talk, we have the first trade that happened this week. Some are saying the catalyst for what's to come after we talk about the coming trades here. But first trade was actually between Most Hated and D. Cleary 14. The trade was Mark acquires Trey Tucker and Alvin Kamara, and D. Cleary 14 acquires George Kittle. Now, on paper, looks like Dan might have won this trade, but if you look back here, Jacoby Myers did get traded. Trey Tucker is wide receiver one. I know Brock Bowers is there, but Trey Tucker is the target, going to be the guy there. Pretty young asset. Kamara, older running back, doesn't seem like he's been having, very consistent weeks lately. 0.7, 6, 5. We know he has it in him. It's just, it really hasn't been as consistent as he's been in years past. I know he's getting older. George Kittle, on the other hand, looks like he's coming back with a vengeance. I mean, he was tight end one last year, a league winner on my team. Thank you very much. So I as much as I want to say D. Cleary 14 won this trade, I do give him the edge a little bit, but I think it's a lot closer than most people are giving Most Hated credit for. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit back, relax. We have the second trade that went down. The biggest trade of the year. Absolute blockbuster trade between me and Cody. Just to give you an idea of what the trade looked like here, I gave up Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Adams, and David Montgomery. Those guys are now on Cody's team. What did I receive in return? Well, I received 3 2026 first-round picks, 2 2027 first-round picks, Josh Downs, and Jalen McMillan. Tons of moving parts here. Reason I personally did this, I didn't think that my team could compete in the playoffs to win a spot. So kind of my philosophy on everything is if I know for a fact I am not going to compete in the playoffs, I want to completely tank as much as I possibly can, get as much value as I can for the guys I've got. Gibbs and Puka are 2 guys that I acquired this year. I spent a ton of capital on them. Just to kind of give you an idea, for Puka, I gave up a 2026 first-round pick, Jordan Addison, Chris Olave, and Jake Ferguson to Nick. That's what I did to acquire Puka. And then I also, to acquire Gibbs, I gave up 2 27 firsts and Marvin Harrison Jr. and got Gibbs in the second back. So 2 big boys, a lot of value I had to use to acquire them, but got a lot of value back. I do like Josh Downs with wow, I don't know why I couldn't remember the name. Daniel Jones. I do like him a lot with Daniel Jones. Did not like him really at all with Anthony Richardson. Obviously, the Daniel Jones situation there is a complete 180 than what they had last year. Jalen McMillan, he's still injured. He might be coming back this year. He had a really good year last year. Baker seems to be able to throw the ball to anybody that he possibly can. So that's why I like it for me. I really like it for Cody because he ended up having 2 guys he hit really well on. In the draft, he had Dart and Abuka on his taxi. Starting those guys now, his team is an automatic contender. He had 3 wins, so he's only 1 win off of the playoff hunt. Adding Puka, Gibbs, I mean, even Devontae. I mean, Devontae's been averaging what, over 20 points a game? I mean, he's been insane. And then Demon as the handcuff, he's a startable guy. I think this puts Cody now up in the upper echelon of being able to compete for a chip. I know earlier this year he was thinking, I think it's just going to be a tank year. That's why essentially he traded Gibbs to me, and I ended up trading it back to him now with this blockbuster trade. But I mean, when you can hit on guys in the draft like that, and your team really isn't as bad as it is. I mean, Cody's team has the best wide receiver in the league on his team, JSN. He's got a lot of good parts. Just adding those pieces, I think, just is going to push him over the edge here. So we'll get more into it in the power rankings, but yeah, that's the second blockbuster trade that went down. All right, trade number 3, I believe, is our first 3-way of the year. I again was involved, Cody's involved, and Regan was involved. So I sent away Hunter Henry, acquired a 2026 third-round pick. Cody acquired Kyle Pitts. He sent away a 2026 second-round pick. It's his pick as well, so you got to keep that in mind. And then Regan acquired Hunter Henry and a 2026 second, and he ended up giving up Kyle Pitts and a 2026 third. So he moves up in the draft a little bit and goes from Kyle Pitts as his tight end to Hunter Henry. I guess it's just how you feel on Hunter Henry and Kyle Pitts. I mean, I feel like at the beginning of the season, Hunter Henry was kind of clicking. I mean, he had a 33-point game I'm looking at here. A couple double-digit games, but a couple stinkers as well. Pitts, 19, 16, couple stinkers, a 20-point game. I mean, he's been pretty good. I mean, the days he's not getting over double-digit points, he's putting up 8 or 9 points still. When he's putting up double digits, he's putting up 16, 20, 16, 19. I mean, so I feel like it's a good upside play, especially because Cody had no tight end. Tucker Kraft went down, so now he's in need of a tight end. And I don't think it's that big of a downgrade for Regan for Hunter Henry. Still serviceable, still averaging very similar points per game. But he moves up in the draft. So, I don't know. I think a win-win-win for everybody. I maybe could have got a little bit more value out of Hunter Henry. I don't know. I still think a third. I believe it's going to be early, so I think it's going to be all right. But that one, not much to talk about there. Trade number 4 was a bit of a bigger one. Trade between Jay Fiacchi, D. Cleary 14. D. Cleary 14 sends away Joe Burrow, but then acquires a 2026 first, a 2027 second, a 2026 third, and a 2028 third, all from Jay Fiacchi. Jay Fiacchi, once again, absolutely fleecing to acquire a guy. Dan, I do not like this at all for you. These are all late picks. You're going to have potentially the very last pick, if not the second to last pick in the 2026 first round pick. Same with all these other picks. Jay Fiacchi, great team, ton of great guys, all done because of fleecing. So, I mean, of course, you're going to have a good team, the amount of fleece trades you do. Going to be good for a while. Dan, you got horrible value on this. Jay Fiacchi, like I said, once again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Absolutely fleeced him. Joe Burrow obviously is out. Expect to be back for the playoff run, which Lord knows Jay Fiacchi needs a quarterback. I don't know why he thinks Dak and Kyler are them. Kyler's getting benched for Jacoby Brissett. I mean, come on. Dak barely puts up over double-digit points a game. So, I mean, good on you to acquire a quarterback. Just, no tea. And lastly, trade number 5. Mind you, all these trades happened, I believe, within 24 hours, which is kind of funny. I feel like every time we start making trades, it's just the dam breaks, and we have a ton of trades. Last trade, again, was between me and D. Cleary 14. D. Cleary acquires Cortland Sutton. I obviously don't, want any of my, older depth guys, so I'm trying to offload them. I acquire a 2026 second round pick and a 2026 fourth. I like this trade a lot for me just because I believe that most hated second round pick is going to be earlier. Obviously, Cortland Sutton's been extremely good this season. He's wide receiver 10. So great for a team that is trying to compete in the playoffs. Obviously not, Cortland Sutton's not great for a guy trying to tank. So I think this trade works out for both parties here. Dan gets a top 10 wide receiver in the league. I get some picks. Yeah. Today's episode of the Commissioner's Corner is brought to you by SkyCards, the only app where fantasy football meets flight school. Why manage a dynasty team when you could be chasing a level 9 platinum Jetstream Pegasus over the Arctic Circle? With SkyCards, you don't just trade players, you trade planes, catch rare aircraft, level them up, flex your hangar harder than Regan flexes 2026 first. Download SkyCards today, available wherever you waste time on your phone, and start your collection. SkyCards, catch flights, not feelings. All right, now turning it over to the matchups of the week last week. We'll start with our AT&T matchup of the week between D. Cleary 14 and Team Regan O'Shea 7. Now, coming into the week, Regan was projected 156 points. Dan, the underdog, projected 143 points. Now, projections are just that, projections, because Dan ended up absolutely cooking Team Regan O'Shea. Regan O'Shea falls to 6-3, while Mystic Dan moving on up to 5-4. Lamar and Stafford absolutely cooked for Dan. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels, the week that he got hurt, so he's going to be out. Only put him up 15 points. Drake May, probably I think his worst week that he's had, 16 fantasy points. Yeah, it looks like his second worst week. He's been an absolute force to be reckoned with in fantasy football. Going through the receivers, nothing too much to write home about. Adunze is with a dud. Kamara with 0.7. I mean, this was kind of an interesting, weird matchup. But this one came down to who had the better quarterbacks, and that was D. Cleary 14. Moving over to Team Evan Squire and Eric Wingerden. Projections were pretty close, 151 to 156, favoring called the DeMar Ambulance. This one didn't end up being close at all. Wingerden ends up 203. Squire, respectable 140, but I mean, when you're putting up 200 points, I mean, that's tough to beat. He must have had some guys absolutely cook. Yeah, he had Bowers this week. Yeah, Eric had Bowers and Caleb Williams. Bowers 49 points. Caleb Williams with 38. I mean, Flacco for Squire 30. I mean, come on. We got some great points getting put up there, but I mean, when you got Jettas and Chase and Derrick Henry, it's tough to beat that when you're not having the best week that you have. So, moving over to Chaika and B-Todd. This was a bit of a shocker. I've always looked at B-Todd's team. Does he have it? Does he not? He deals with a lot of injuries. But this week, B-Todd pulls it out. His big players, Genty, Gadsden, out of nowhere. J.J. McCarthy's back and looking pretty decent. Nick, on the other hand. Nick, lowest score of the week, 81 points. I mean, what are we doing? 3-6 for the both of them now. I mean, just looking at Nick's team, it's a little tough to look at right now. He's got two guys from Green Bay starting for him. Jake Ferguson, not the best week. He had Tyler Algier in his super flex spot. Just kind of looking at his bench, though. So many guys on a bye. I mean, what are you going to do? But Nick, expecting to see that video here any day now. I'm very excited for it. Next up, we got Daddy and his boys. Josh's Jacks. Jay Fiacchi versus Cody Ashley. Another pretty great matchup here. Jay Fiacchi ends up putting up over 200 points once again, bringing his squad to 8-1 with the win. Josh's Jacks, though, 160 points. And this is before the massive trade that he made to acquire all those guys. So 160 without those guys, I mean, what's the team going to be when he's got those guys? I mean, come on. I'll get more into that in the power rankings, but yep, ended up just not even being close. Jay Fiacchi, unfortunately, still 8-1. He could have been undefeated, but he's not. All right, going up. Next up, we got TJW, most hated. Most hated really wants his flowers here. He did put up a respectable amount of points, 164. However, you smoked the worst team in the league. I mean, congrats, but you know, we got to see an actual contender, you know, be beat, and you know, and then we'll start talking. But like I said, 164 points is nothing to scoff at. Herbert cooking, Amon-Ra cooking, Higgins with 33 points, best on there, and Jacoby Brissett out of nowhere, 24 points. TJW just continuing to do what TJW does. Rough team here. Expecting potential 101 territory. I'm not going to call it just yet, but we're looking at it. And lastly, Adam's family. So my team versus Dylan's team, running a chain on your mom. Coming into the week, I was projected 144. Dylan projected 130. Crashed and burned. 107. I put up just a measly 107. Dylan puts up 130. Darnold looking great for him, 27 points. I mean, Alec Pierce, too, 17 points with the trade. Yeah, I think this is what is the straw that broke the camel's back for me. You know, I puts me at 4 and 5. I don't think I was in contention anymore. So, hey, time to offload the entire roster. We'll get into more of my thoughts on everyone's teams here in the coming segments for our power rankings. So, all right, moving into our next segment, the William Attar power rankings. Hurt in a car, call William Attar 444-4444. Getting us started, Tier 4. There's a bit of some shakeups. I think we all can figure out who that shakeup would be. Cough, cough, me. So in my Tier 4 categories, TJW remains. B-Todd remains. And the newest addition to the Tier 4 squad is me. I sold my soul, sold my entire team for these picks. I hope they end up working out for me. But I literally I don't even have any guys anymore. I gave up Puka, who's been putting up, who is the wide receiver 1, and maybe wide receiver 2. I think JSN's wide receiver 1. Gave up Gibbs, incredible. Devontae Adams, incredible. I essentially gave up my entire team because I'm in the tank mode. TJW continues his slide. Once again, losing. We kind of touched on that in the last segment. He's 2-7, making a real good case for the 101. Just kind of looking. I know we had Thursday night games last night. You had Bo Nix, 5 points. It's not looking like another good week for him. We also have B-Todd remaining. Granted, I feel like his team has a lot of good pieces. So I wouldn't be surprised if B-Todd ends up potentially making a run into maybe Tier 3 category. But hey, we'll see what the weeks bring. He had Ashton Denton give him a nice amount of points. So we'll see how his matchup plays out. In the Tier 3 category, I have running a chain on your mom, Cody, Shucks, Dunks, Penix, and Shika. Those three, definitely a good Tier 3, could always be Tier 2. They're on the brink of Tier 2. Most Hated's coming off his second win in a row. Tough start to the year, but 2 wins in a row. Got to give you your flowers, obviously. 2 wins in a row, sometimes hard to come by. Nick Chaika's Rats continuing his fall, 2 losses in a row. The pieces are there. It's just there's not enough consistency to really be a Tier 2 or a Tier 1 team. And then running a chain on your mom. I would say there's good pieces. I don't know if that's actually true. I mean, Achan, of course, good piece. But you got QJ, you got Keon, you got Dobbs. these guys aren't consistent producers, as we've seen. But, hey, stranger things have happened. I'd be surprised if you end up as a Tier 2 team. I'd be less surprised if you ended up as a Tier 4 team. Hey, but you're 3-6, coming off a win. We'll see what happens. In my Tier 2 category, I have Mystic Dan, Team O'Shea, and Team Evan Squire. These three teams have the pieces to be good. Evan Squire, 6-3. Regan, 6-3. Mystic Dan, 5-4. We're looking up. Squire, Regan, coming off of a loss, but hey, it happens. Evan obviously lost to Jay Fiacchi. Regan, not the greatest of losses. Not the greatest of losses. Looking at the team, there's some pieces that need to be put together to really be a Tier 1 team. I mean, we're starting Woody Marks. Has he been that good? 2 points. I mean, he's put up a couple of good weeks, but I don't think that's your guy. Woody Marks, is that Nick Chubb as a picture? Anyway, BTJ just hasn't been consistent this year. It looks like he's projected 0 points. Ladd, hit or miss. Adunze put up a big goose egg for you. Warren, great piece. So definitely a Tier 2 category. I can see you dropping to Tier 3 with Jaden Daniels now being out. But you got Rasheed on the bye. You got Kareem Hunt, who is definitely startable. So we'll see what happens there. Evan, great team. A very, very good team. Very solid team. James Cook, RB1. J.K. Dobbins been looking great. Waddle's obviously wide receiver 1. Great pieces here. Flacco putting up mad points for you last week. You got Purdy, you got Tila. You got everything you need. You got depth. You just need a couple more. You just need at least, I think, one more stud, and I think you're really in the mix there. Mystic Dan, turning things around, making trade after trade. Best quarterbacks in the league: Lamar, Stafford. You got Dylan Gabriel there. I mean, I would say you had the best quarterbacks in the league, but I just forgot. You did trade Joe Burrow away, so that kind of takes a hit. I would say you hit the playoffs. If you had Joe Burrow, maybe there's a case to be made that you'd be up there. But hey, we'll see what happens. Still, Stafford and Lamar are going to get you there. A.J. Brown, once he gets rolling, he'll be a stud. You got Cortland Sutton, who's been but puts up great points. Kittle's going to cook for you. No, you got a lot of good pieces here. You got Javonte. I mean, you got all the pieces needed to be a good playoff team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. In our Tier 1 categories, and a newest addition to the Tier 1 category, we have Jay Fiacchi, obviously 8-1. Called the DeMar Hambulis, also 8-1. And the newest addition to the Tier 1, we have Cody, Josh's Jacks, entering the conversation. Now you might say, Josh's Jacks, he's only 3-6. He's coming off a loss. You don't get it. This team is a force to be reckoned with. With the addition of Puka, with the addition of Gibbs, with the addition of Devontae Adams, elevating Dart, elevating Ibuka. This team, I might call it now. This team is going to win the chip this year. Moving on to Jay Fiacchi. Obviously, we've heard time and time again, Jay Fiacchi, easily the best running backs in the league. CMC, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor. Sus. Jay Fiacchi, phenomenal team. You're 8-1, obviously, for a reason. You have all the great pieces. You just don't have a quarterback. If Burrow can come back for playoffs for you, we're looking at a different story. And then lastly, call the DeMar Ambulance. Also, another phenomenal team. Just a couple of inconsistencies with Jamar and Jettas this year. But once they start rolling, because they are the two best wide receivers in this league, they can play with anyone. Once they start rolling, Bowers is now the wide receiver 1 on this team, even though last week's game didn't show it. But, you have all the pieces. You've got great quarterbacks, you've got great running backs, and you've great receivers. So I'd be shocked if you didn't make it to the finals. All right, I want to thank everyone for listening to this week's episode. I know it was just me in the studio, but I did want to have a couple of reminders here before we finish out. Shotgun penalty. Nick, this is your week to do your shotgun. B-Todd, I know I talked to you in the office. Sounds like you're going to be doing all of yours all at once. TJW, I don't know what we're doing. We're still waiting on yours. I don't know if you're going to do them all at once or what your deal is. Additionally, I'm going to keep harping on this every week. Trade deadline is week 14. It's going to come up faster than we think. Additionally, if you have any questions on rules, what you can and can't do, I do have the rule book I rolled out. If you want me to send a PDF to you, just let me know. I'll text it to you. If not, it is in the league chat there. So feel free to kind of take a look and let me know if it's missing anything. We can kind of make adjustments as needed. But that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next week. We're going to have a pretty interesting next week. We're going to have a very, very special guest, much anticipated. Some are saying the most anticipated guest, the most polarizing guest that we could possibly have on our episode. I'll let you guys take a guess at who that is. So, good luck setting those lineups, and may your points for finally match your points against. Thanks, guys.